Jacques Greeff. Mate, welcome to the Both Sides podcast. One of three brothers who sold your business, Realbase, for 180 million. The Greeff brothers are quite well known amongst the podcast community, having yourself and Frank featured on quite a few episodes. So, mate, today I just want to dive deep and really understand what success looked like on the come up, but then now we're doing a new venture in the AI space. Understand why would somebody who has the ability to never work another day in their life get back to waking up at 4:30 in the morning and blitzing themselves to the point where they're back in war zone, mate. So thank you for coming up, mate. My first question to you is, why start again?
That's a good question. I ask myself that question every day when I'm waking up at 4:30. I think the thing for me is business is such an interesting part of life for me. And I think I realized this post-exit. I've made a bunch of money. Let me just retire. Let me do that and actually see what that's like. And I just realized through that process that there was something missing that was just keeping me going. And that's what I get from business. Like, you get so much mental stimulation, even if things aren't going well. It's just like the excitement. And I'm like, I feel like I'm slightly addicted to it. Like I'm a bit of a sicko in that respect. So I guess that's one of the reasons. The other reason I think is things change so much from when we started a business, the environment of like the world, the macro. Like now with AI, it's like all this new exciting stuff. Like I can't just sit on the sidelines and let all that cool stuff happen and be like, damn, I'm missing the second internet. And so part of it's like, it's almost like a fear of missing out on like this cool new tech that's come out. I'm like, I'm in the prime of my life and this new stuff's come out, I should get involved. So.
Sounds like a bit of FOMO, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit of FOMO, yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
I think I'd love to unpack because obviously, you know, AI is the new internet and your boys, and I think too, you took 12 months off, you probably got good clear optics on your life, on what's happening around you, you know, and obviously, you know, AI is running at such a fast pace now. You probably would have seen this coming, probably would have felt a bit of that sideline thing happening.
Yes.
When was the decision to then go, okay, fuck it, I'm going back in, like tap me back in, coach? And why AI? And I mean, we may as well just dump straight into Kinso, and then why the product, and walk us through, I guess, that journey of identifying, all right, I'm getting back on the field, coach, to, okay, what game are we actually playing? How did you identify it was an app? And talk us through that process, because I know that was a bit arduous. You come up with a couple of ideas, was it right? Took a couple of left turns, and now you've landed on Kinso. Can you just map out that timeline for the listeners? Because that was a pretty exciting 12 months.
Yeah, so I think if I think about my time off, it's not like you're fully switching out of like business idea mode. Like Frank and I would go for these long runs and we'd just talk about business all day, every day, because that's what we love. And through this process, it's a gradual thing, right? Like, oh, what about this idea? That's interesting. Let's explore it. What about this idea? How can we work with AI just in general? Like, I'm just interested. I'm fascinated by the technology. And then you hear about like, it's just getting better and better and better. And you're like, far out, this is really cool. How do we use it? So you start trialing and erroring different bits and pieces. One of the big problems for Frank is he's gone on this big like fucking personal brand journey. He's got a podcast, he's on social media, is his inbox is absolutely cooked. Like you've never seen anything like it. It stresses me out when I look at his phone. It's just horrific. He's got 50 unread texts, his Gmail is cooked, his calendar's cooked. And so we try to muck around with some like AI agents for auto drafting responses. Like a very simple task. I'm interested in AI, let's try and muck around with it. The problem that we found was the business context happens across so many channels. Like we chatted on Instagram DM to book this. It's not in Gmail. You know, Gmail only has one piece of the picture. So the auto responses that these AI agents could produce were so vanilla. They weren't correct. It didn't understand the person using the email program. It didn't understand the person on the other side. It didn't understand any of this context that happens when you're having like communication through business. And we're like, well, there's got to be a solution here. Now we're kind of like hooked on this idea. Like, well, maybe there's something here that we can explore. But we were testing a bunch of different ideas. So we kind of put that one on the back burner. It was like, well, how do I just get AI to understand the context of everything I'm doing at all times? Like, how do I just get that? You know, like where it gives me a result that I'm like, wow, that's exactly how I would respond. Or that's exactly, you know, it knows exactly where this is up to. And we tried a bunch of different technologies. We tried a bunch of different things that like off the shelf, and just nothing did it. And then we're like, maybe there's something here. Like maybe there's like a product here that we can start to pull some threads on. And so we just explored through like a few months journey as like, what would that look like? Like, what would it look like? There's obviously a lot of complexity, right? Like if you're adding multiple messaging platforms to a single UI, well, you are 5 different people on all those platforms. You know, you've got it, you know, there's Josh on Insta, there's Josh on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Insta doesn't care about the LinkedIn version of you, but
shirt
I do.
on, shirt off.
Yeah. Just getting progressively more. Well, you know what I mean? Like there's no single contact.
Yeah.
So that's a huge technical problem. So how do you solve that problem so that no matter which platform you message me on, it's the same Josh that it gets tied to? And like, so this is how we sort of went down this path where we're like, well, how would you solve that? Because once you understand context of a contact, how we talk to each other, you understand the context of a conversation, you know, things happening, conversation themes. What else can you do? Like what kind of agentic tasks can you start taking on? And that's what really started this whole journey.
Wow. I could just imagine, like for us with the podcast, how many comments we got on posts. Imagine if you had a bot like that could just actually send a good response.
Yeah, the dream is it sends it itself. I don't think we're not close enough yet. Like I think the gap right now is AI is awesome, but do I trust it to just do stuff completely on my behalf yet? No. So human in the loop is still really important. But if it's like, hey, someone asked for some piece of information, here's that information. Do you want to just hit send? Great, you've provided amazing value. The dream, yes, is there's so much low tier stuff. I don't mind an AI bot just responding to it at least.
Yeah.
You know, like my DMs are flooded. At least respond to that person and say, thanks for reaching out. So, yeah.
How does the AI, Jacques, actually know how to respond to you? Is it literally going through all your profiles, watching you from day to day?
Yeah, so the key thing with AI is like you've got to show it what a good result is. So training data is essentially like, this is an email that you got and this is how a human responded, right? So AI is just like pattern recognition. These are the inputs. This is what good looks like, and then what can you produce? And you're constantly constantly going through this loop. It's like, yes, it's good. Can we refine it, make it better? So that's the whole concept with AI. It's like it's got to be shown, and that's why you need a lot of data. You need a lot of context to see what good looks like. And if you only have one piece of the context, which is just like say your email, that's actually not the full picture. You know, some other it's really important context are in Instagram, are in WhatsApp, are in LinkedIn. And so if you show it more context of what it's trying to achieve, which is this is what good looks like, it can be improved, accuracy goes up.
Where are AI is kind of like this mystical dark art. Everyone wants it. Everyone wants to build their own. Everyone wants to build an AI product. Everyone wants to systemize their whole business on AI. 99% of people don't know where to start. You know, there's a term in AI like technical debt. It's like you don't want to start, you don't invest so much into part of that product when, you know, you could come up with a solution, but, you know, the tech supersedes it in a month's time and you've just spent 200 grand doing it. So there's kind of this race, there's kind of this juxtaposed, you know, positioning of like, how much do I invest? Where do I start? Where do I stop? What's my low fruit list? And you've got, you know, issues with API access to, you know, different softwares don't talk. So there's conceptually, everybody's got these great ideas of I just want this to talk to that, and I want to open my phone and my calendar's drafted, all my emails, you know, to my team are already done. So I think everybody's got the vision of what everybody thinks it can do.
Yeah.
But can you shed some light, I guess, on the realities of where it's really up to and where the capabilities are? Because I think there's parts that are really good, but there's also, you know, like I know that we're tinkering around in Hive. But we can't get access to some CRMs, you know, so that's stalling us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good the idea is. If software's not talking, you can't actually develop it. So, yeah, shed some light on, I guess, like really where it's up to.
That's the key problem you've just touched on, right? If you've got AI that's meant to integrate into everything, there's a two-way street there.
Yeah.
The platform you're trying to integrate into has to allow it.
Yeah.
And that's the big challenge. Like people are like, talking, I think, a bit too ahead of where we're actually up to. We've got legacy systems we've got to deal with in the day-to-day. Like a CRM, it's a legacy system, but your data's in there. And if the CRM isn't open to allowing integration into AI tooling, well, then you kind of got a dead end, right? And I think people are talking about AGI is going to do all this stuff, and it's like access denied, can't log in. Well, then you're useless to me. And so I think one of the big things that's happening right now is this concept of like MCP, where they're building a layer that you can integrate AI into.
Yeah.
So that's quite new. So this world that we hear about, like, from the intellectuals of where AI is going to replace everyone, it's going to do everything. I think we're still quite far away from that. And like practically, there's still a lot of inaccuracy that happens day to day. And you you hear about a tool, it's going to change the game. Great, let me give it a go. And you're like, this is fucking 60%. Shit. Yeah. and then the problem is like the trust is kind of eroded, right? Like I'm not going to be patient enough to wait till it gets better. I just churn and I move on with my life. I think that's the thing. There's a huge hype cycle right now. Huge. It's undeniable. But then there's like this adoption curve. There's a bit of a lag. And that's where like you have to get real tactile. It's like, okay, can I integrate this into the thing that it needs to integrate with to get the correct data to be accurate? Yeah. And like if you can't, well, then there's a problem. You got to figure out a different solution.
What do you think about the trajectory versus the adoption curve? Like if we don't know, like for example, like the MCP servers, like that can get you access into certain softwares, right? Yeah. But then is there going to be something in 3 months later that's going to supersede that? And like the rate of growth with AI and capability it's been like light speed. Yeah. Like who's to know if it's going to double down, triple down, quadruple down? Like we don't actually know how quick it's going to get to a better place. Yeah. Like it could be 6 months, could be 12 months, but it could be 3 years. Like if we don't have all of these adopter softwares that let you in to do it. Yeah. The whole industry might be stalled because nothing's integrating. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I guess like, how do you see that? Do you see it as like, we just deal with it when it comes? Like it could be as soon as 6 months before everything's just automated, or like what's a realistic timeline?
I think what we're going to see is people understand like where certain verticals need a lot more attention, not just from like AI is going to solve it. It's like, no, it actually needs like someone in that vertical to understand like the full scope picture. Real estate's a great example. Someone on the outside is not going to solve AI for real estate. It's going to come from someone in real estate who understands the exact process, the exact connections that you have to set up. Yep. So there's like legacy systems that have to be upgraded if that's where the data is stored. That has to happen. That has to happen at the rate at which the platform will allow. Then the AI itself, like where I think the AI is like advancing, is its ability to handle a lot more context. So with coding, for example, I started using Cursor 6 months ago, but when your code base got too big, the AI couldn't understand where everything was and connect up to each other, so it started making mistakes. Context windows allows you to basically say, here's my code base, pump it into the AI, it understands where everything is so it can help you better. As that gets better, it starts to create more accurate results. That's where things are improving incredibly fast. So you kind of got these large language models that are these big brains that are getting really a lot better, but then you still need this application layer to get better as well. And that's going to happen at kind of like piecemeal. You know, you'll see a lot of interesting stuff happening in the software development space for coders because it's a huge money maker. But you might see a lag in another industry because it's not a huge money maker. Some Silicon Valley guy's not looking at it. Yeah, it's someone's not in it. Someone's not in it. They don't understand it. So you've got to like, you'll see it kind of like a wave, or you'll see like, the money maker stuff gets a lot of attention, a lot of resource.
Like segmented by industry.
Exactly.
I've even noticed from my experience, Jacques, like with my podcast prep or building a business plan, sometimes it'll create a doc and it'll write out the answers or the notes for the business plan, but then it will summarize too much, or it'll cut out halfway down the page. So I can relate to you when you say that there's part of it which is still just not there. But coming back to the problem you're trying to solve now, what's the thought process you're adopting to actually provide a product or service to the market that you can actually implement to solve a problem? Like, what is that going to look like and be for you?
So I think one of the key things for us is like we want to solve a problem for someone that is very similar to us. Like from my point of view, it's like I'm solving my problem, or I'm solving Frank's problem. I'm in it. I'm living the problem every single day. So it's very like specific to, like, I think that's when the best solutions come from. Like the best solutions come from someone in real estate dealing with all of these different variables, and then you create a software product that solves the problem. You're like, you know exactly the pieces of the puzzle. And it's the same thing with us with Kinso. It's like, I'm just living this problem every single day. Like things that get lost. Like the funny story is we sold our business. We don't tell the story a lot, but the reason we sold our business so successfully is we connected with a broker who sent Frank a cold DM on LinkedIn. So Frank had to, by chance, be looking at his LinkedIn DMs, which are an absolute nightmare. There's no filtering or priority or look at this message. It's just in a sea of messages. One cold DM from a broker probably provided $50 million worth of enterprise value in the sale of our business. because he set up the right strategy. So it's like these moments where you're like, it's so tactile, right? It's like, it's not even like you're guessing that it's a problem. You're like, if I miss that message, if we miss that message, it's like a sliding doors moment where
opportunity
so much doesn't happen. And it's like, I shudder to think, like, what was the mood that he was in when he decided to check LinkedIn DMs on a random Wednesday and got that DM?
That's a really good point, Jacques. We actually we interviewed Joshua Charles. He's the number one commercial real estate agent in Australia. We interviewed him this morning, and he was saying since he had been out on the digital space that they're getting a lot of traction through LinkedIn and social and into these DMs or into spam. It's like, if you just miss that one DM from, you know, a $200 million deal in the commercial space, that's $1 million commission.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to miss those.
No. But the problem is you got to go through the slop.
Yeah,
absolute
to
slop.
get it.
And like, I go through my DMs and I shudder because it's just people yelling at me and offering me free trials of this thing. And I'm like, I don't want to look at it. It's like, it almost like causes me anxiety. But yeah, there's might be a bit of gold in there.
So how are you solving that? So, because you're coming up with the same technical debt issues, you're coming up with the same integration issues. So how are you actually piecing that together to fix this problem?
There's a lot of layers to the solution, but essentially this is where AI becomes incredibly useful, right? So if you think about purely from like a data capture and expansion point of view, if you hit my DM and it's cold, LinkedIn doesn't care about enriching the data, but I do. So what can you give me extra about the person who's just messaged me that aligns with what I'm doing, right? Like, what can you do? And there's a lot of great tools out there for this. There's a lot of great data capture, data scraping stuff. We're all pretty, like, everyone's pretty easy to search online. How can you expand that data, right? So that if you get a lead through a cold lead, and it's not just a name and an email and a little message, it's this is the person that's messaging you, right? So that's like step one. Create a bigger context on the person that's contacting you. Normal relationships are fine, but you only know a small piece of the puzzle. What is the extra data that's out there that can enrich the decision? And then it can be like, okay, now it's put through a weighting score. This person you don't know. They've just messaged you a cold DM. From the DM context of this message, it looks like it's a decent opportunity. It could be a scam. Well, how can I find out if it's not a scam? I need to enrich the data about that person. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with the relationship graphs as well. It's kind of what Facebook was built on. It's like the nodes of connection between people. You might message me on LinkedIn completely cold, but you know Josh, and I know Josh. So we can look at a relationship graph and say, well, I should listen to you because you know Josh. And it kind of creates like a multiplier score, right?
Yep.
And that's how that's the beautiful thing about these AI models. You can give it a lot of unstructured, like somewhat noisy data and find patterns. Because that's what it's trying to do here. Like the pattern is, look at that message, it's important.
So if you're pulling, if you go, let's pull your calendar, your texts, and probably, DMs in 3 different channels, Facebook and LinkedIn, so that's 5. Do those softwares, does this agent, I'm assuming this crawler or this agent has to go through and be able to be scraping this and scanning these as they come in?
Yep.
Do those softwares have to talk to each other for this agent to be able to go through? Or
no,
how are you overcoming that?
So essentially all you need to do, like just pure technical challenge here, you have to create an integration gateway into every single application. That has to be authorized by the user. Obviously, you're not going to grab people's data from messaging platforms that you don't authorize. It's the same thing as you connect your Gmail up to whatever.
So how would the user of Kinso do that?
So
just give you access?
So the approach we're taking is human first. It's not an AI bot that's doing all the stuff in the background without your consent or your knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about the native environment for a human for communication is, I want to see these messages that are happening, right? I just want to be notified and shown the message that I should look at. So it's really about ranking and prioritizing messages. So if you think about it from a UI standpoint, it's quite simple. We're all used to messaging applications. People use Slack, people use Gmail, people use WhatsApp. All that's really native. All you're doing is creating an aggregate view of all of those messaging platforms. So you can still just fire off a message from this one app.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's still very human first, very tactile. It's the UI component, I think, is the most important.
So it's a hub, like it's...
Correct. So again, this is another one of these core problems that I see with AI is we're going too far into this world where AI does everything and it's almost like a black box. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
I think there's a step in between, which is keep the human in the loop with UI that makes sense, that's native, that's familiar, because that's the first step.
Yeah.
You've got a great AI layer over the top and it's a nice little silent helper, but it's not like things are happening that you have no visibility on, because that's a huge trust gap. Like if you're doing communication on someone's behalf, like you have to be 100% perfect or it's rubbish. So the first step is like, well, you can just see what's going on. And like, really, like you've shown me that I need to respond. You've given me, this is connected to this message. These two people are connected. That's why you should listen to this message. Here's some context for you so that when you go and speak to that person, you've got a bit more background. Like that's super useful, but I'm still the one in the wheel. I'm still driving it, right?
How's it going? Because I want this app tomorrow.
Tell
us if you can tell us, but is it...
Yeah, it's going really well. So like, obviously when you've got these problems, from a technical standpoint, there's a lot of things that you need to do. You need to work on really, really seamless integration into messaging platforms. Some of them don't have great integrations. That's just the way they are. So you've got to overcome just getting the data. That's step one. Then you've got to create a really, really strong analysis layer for AI, right? So with all this context, can you understand that these messages are all related to a broader theme? Like right now, I'm hiring a head of engineering. That's a theme in my life that I'm communicating with a recruiter over here, multiple candidates over here. I'm talking to Frank about it over here, but the theme is this one thing. All these messages are actually connected to a goal that I have right now, which is to place a head of engineering.
How is it capturing that? So like that is the thing.
That's the analysis layer, right? So it's got to understand the context of messages on multiple platforms with multiple people and understand that they're part of a common theme for you, right? So it's a lot of... The thing is, large language models are really good at inference. They're really good at understanding. Like you could probably do this right now. Straight out the box of ChatGPT is load your emails in and tell me, what am I working on? What's important to me right now? Be like, I can see you're doing this. I know you're working on this. They understand that. So, and that's where I guess the benefit is when AI improves, your product just gets better. You don't even have to do anything, right? You've like, the model just got better. You swap a new model in and your product is instantly better.
Is your, I guess, mother AI that you're feeding the data to, is it, for example, just a version of ChatGPT, or did you build that from scratch?
So no, you wouldn't build it from scratch. Yeah, God damn, I'd be bankrupt. So the way that these models work, and ChatGPT's just done this, is open source their model. So basically what that means, instead of using their hosted ChatGPT and making an API request and then getting a result back, you get to host a version of ChatGPT on your own server. So it's basically like taking their thing out the box and you're putting it in your server, so it's also secure. So you're not relaying a bunch of message data across into the wind. It's staying within your servers, right? And so a lot of this stuff, the way that it works from like a real technical standpoint, is you create essentially like little model jobs. Like this model is really good at understanding intent. So it understands what the intent is when you have a bunch of text, and you use it just to identify that.
So you'd have heaps of these.
So you have small models that work together, but they work on very specific things that they're good at. Because the problem is you don't want to host a ginormous, massive model because it's very expensive to host that, right? You need like you need a lot of data costs. So what you want to do is you want to work with models that are tuned, the smaller parameters, the smaller models, but they're really good at understanding voice to text. They understand there's ones that understand emotion. Like that's what they're tuned for. So when I'm yelling at it, it knows that you're yelling at it. That's urgent, or you know what I mean. So there's a lot of interesting little models you can do, and this is the big problem that we're facing, right? This is cool. We try it, then the next one comes out. You try it, and so you're trying to like compartmentalize so that if a new model comes out, you swap it, no problem. So your code isn't like ruined by the fact that a new model's come in.
Can I?
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to get your... This is advice for the broader audience, because I know you talk to any agent, any business owner, everybody wants AI in their business. Like I said, no one knows where to start. Is it better? Let's use real estate as the vertical, because it's a big niche vertical, relatively untapped outside of a couple of products that are available. And I think there's some pretty aggressive adopters trying to do low fruit lists, trying to hit some workflows. But again, they become obsolete because something else comes in, supersedes it. Is it better, say for real estate as a vertical, for agents and principals to try to systemize? It is very expensive. It costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars to get these dev guys in and do it all. Is it better for them to come in and try to just do it all themselves with a developer or an engineer or whatever? Or is it better for them to wait for this technology to catch up and somebody to centralize it? And the reason I ask is because there's so much low fruit value add. Like I did a 3-day audit on my business. went through 72 checklists, and 60% of my business could be automated, which I've started. But then I'm like, well, if I keep going, that's another mortgage, you know, because I'm going to have 2 full-time AI guys in my business.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then you look at it and go, okay, well, the products that are available, again, just in real estate, it's fragmented. You know, you've got a text bot that, you know, Reader, which is CoreLogic. That's cool. That's really good. But just text doesn't clean up your database, doesn't go through, and there's no, there's no like prioritization in terms of like who's a good lead in your CRM, and it can update notes or any of that sort of stuff. So it is pretty, it's advanced but archaic at the same time.
Yeah.
So for everybody in business that's on this hype cycle, should they just hire their own dev guy, get him in-house and just hit whatever low-fruit stuff they can? Or should they just wait for the bigger guys that have got the hundreds of millions to figure out how to scale a workflow? Because that's the big thing. Agencies, businesses want workflow, scalability. Product's really not valuable unless you can scale a workflow, because the language models are language models. You can just jump on ChatGPT and it'll tell you most stuff.
Yeah.
Where people are finding value in business is like, I want Xero to talk to my bank account to send this and that to send to the agent. That's really where the value is. Where do you see, is it better for people to invest themselves and try to figure it out, or do they wait? Where do people go from here? Because I feel like in the next 6 months, we're at this position where if I go, am I just going to figure something out and invent it, and then someone's going to, you know, domain might come out a year later and have it all worked out? Where do you see that? Because I know you're looking at the real estate space. What do you reckon?
There's a lot of low touch, like low risk stuff you can do that's not expensive, that you can automate, like workflows, right? Like agentic, it's agents, but it's workflows, right? Like there's so many things that are specific to your business that a big player probably won't even solve when they do come around to solve it, right? Because you've got nuanced things that have to happen in a very specific way. I think the solution that's going to be created is a platform that allows people to create their own workflows really intuitively for real estate, with all the integrations ready to go. Like you kind of think about a mix between a Zapier and a Relevance, and you know, you've kind of got, that's what will happen eventually, and it'll have to be dumbed down so that anyone can just like quickly do it. And so there will be that moment. But I think in the meantime, instead of sitting in the sidelines and saying, I'm going to wait till someone solves my problem end to end, which is, again, like no SaaS product ever solves a person's problems end to end. There's always little things. It's trialing like a small agency to come up and set up some automations for you. Like you don't need to hire a full-time dev, right? Like full-time devs are probably overqualified for what is required to set up an N8N
and they're
workflow. And they're fucking expensive, right?
They're paid well.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they're just going to be sitting around twiddling their thumbs, because these are moments in time where you create a workflow and you're happy with it, and you probably don't change it for years, right? And you might add little tweaks here and there. So I think there's like an intermediary step where you can try and experiment. You can trial out the box tools and see how they go. Like I'm sure there's all these groundbreaking tools that are going to come in real estate, and over the next 6 to 12 months, they're going to change the game. So you can try them. But like, what I'm seeing a lot from the AI adoption space and like the young up and comers that are now like riding this wave is there's these agencies that will help set up like your N8N workflow or your agents, and they might cost 10, 15 grand a month, and you use them for 6 months and then you're away. And like you've said, you've solved 60% of your automation problems. You probably don't even need a big player to come in and solve your problems, because the rest of the stuff's probably so human anyway, it's unsolvable.
Bang on.
So there's a lot of low hanging fruit here. That's what I'm loving about AI. There's just so much stuff.
How do you find a good dev? Like, how does somebody? And that's the other part too. When you're really looking at it, when you really understand it. Like when I actually understood, when I got under the hood of my own business, and I went, holy shit, there's 60-70% here. I could drill that out in about 8 weeks. And I could knock out probably 40 hours worth of admin time minimum. You know, because I think for what's the ratio for and what AI can do, you know, for every minute of AI, it's 10 minutes of human. I think it's like the equation.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it's crazy, right? So, and I think if you look at all of those tasks, it's like, well, what's that extra 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week worth for the productivity of your business? Is it that 150 investment into a dev to come do the workflows? Well, yeah, probably, because you're probably going to make that up in your agent's listing, because they're not sitting there behind a computer doing admin. So, but this is that, where do I start? And I think it is still big and scary for a lot of people. And there's a lot of N8N operators that'll come in and say, I'll come build your workflows, and they're self-taught, but they're generally some of the time better than the guys that are tertiary taught. So where do people look? Where do people look for these guys that can come in and do that? Like, are these little firms? Are they like contractors? Like, where does say you're just your average business owner reach out and start that little AI journey? Who should they be talking
Mate,
to?
If you opened up Instagram right now, I could show you 100 of these little agencies that are set up. Like, that's the first place I'd look. Like, it is a wave where, as young entrepreneurs coming up into this space that are technical, like instead of becoming a software developer and trying to get a job, which is really hard right now, they're going down this pathway of like consulting. Consulting. And so there is hundreds popping up all the time, and they're good.
And they're weapons.
And they're good, because like they have software background, and the problem with software at the moment is no companies are really looking to hire junior to mid because they've got AI that does everything, and it's a junior dev. So that's another story, but these people are smart. They can solve these problems, and they've really gotten interested in AI. And a lot of them live on social media. Yeah, that's their channel for marketing.
They're impressive people, man.
Yeah,
like these young guys, and we'll say circa 20 to 23-year-olds.
Yeah,
geniuses. Yeah, some of these guys I've talked to just in my own business. It blows me away the depth and breadth of their knowledge. And what they can actually achieve. Yeah. So you reckon Instagram? Good place to reach out.
Yeah, I think that's what, like, I'm sick of it. I'm like blocking off because I'm just seeing so much of it. But really, like, it is a wave right now where it's like when you had website designers. You know, back in the day when the internet was quite new and being a website designer was like a 20 grand contract you could win and you could design someone's website. It feels very similar where people are just, helping automations. That's their job.
All right. So a free nugget for the listeners: find a good junior dev on N8N and engage with them. And you think that business owners will get a lot of value out of that? Yeah. It's good.
Jacques, I'm quite curious to understand your journey with Kinzo from initial beginning phase with Franco, with the idea, to where you are now. What's been the learning and the difference in operation with this business as opposed to Realbase?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much learning, but I think one of the things that's really top of mind right now is how important it is to set up a team correctly in the early days. When you have a big business, you forget. You can kind of have a few B players and C players, and it kind of gets out in the wash. You're not worried about it too much. But in the early days of a business, like going from idea to execution, like we're starting, if you don't hire like 100% correctly, your business is going to fail. So there's a lot of pressure, and the thing I'm constantly thinking about is like, how do you hire the people? How do you hire the correct people for what you're trying to build?
How do you do that?
It's really fucking hard. It's really hard because, like, I've noticed this through the process, and one of the big like things I've learned is like, I can tell someone is going to be good. It's not in this necessarily the skill that they display. It's how quickly they change their mindset from it's me to it's we or us. How quickly do they start using words like, we're working on this thing together. This is our project. This is our business. It's like the thing that I've noticed recently is the people that are shining buy in to the mission or buy into the company really quickly. And the ones that don't end up working out, I noticed this in the last business as well, it's your business and I'm me, I'm still my own person. And I kind of like, the business is not, don't believe in what you're doing. And that, like, so yeah, the biggest learning is like, how do you recruit and inspire and get people on board with what you're trying to build, especially in tech, because you're competing against behemoths that are offering them huge base salaries plus stock. You're asking someone to take a risk. Right?
Well, build on that for us, because that's a big thing. Like, I think people can't follow you if they don't see the vision.
Yeah, that's
any business.
That's right. So, like, I mean, this is the problem. Like, hiring is the most fundamental part of business, but people don't talk about it much because it's boring. Like, you do a video about hiring on social media, and people go, move on. But it's the most important thing, right? Like, you think about Steve Jobs. What did Steve Jobs do? He just inspired people to get in the mission. He wasn't out there making iPhones himself, but he got the smartest people to go, I want to be part of that mission. And so I think that in business, like, the biggest thing I've learned is, how do you, as a leader, get people excited by what you're doing? And like, it's tactile. It's like, how do you communicate? Like, how do you communicate what you're trying to build? Are you making it seem like it's going to be fun and a challenge and exciting, we're going to get through it? Or do you make it seem like it's going to be a job and we're going to yell at you and tell you what to do? Is it my vision, you're doing it, or is it our collective vision and I want you to be a contributor to this just as much as my opinion matters? So like that is the most fundamental thing that so many people get wrong, because a lot of times in business it's like, this is my business, I'm hiring you to do a job and whatever I say goes. You know, like I'm the boss.
So there's a difference between a boss and a leader.
Yeah. And that's like something that's so on my mind at the moment, because like I'm going through so many job interviews, so obviously like sharpening my pitch. But yeah.
How are you using AI? Are you using AI to help, you know, with this process, or is this all gut intuition?
No, it's feel. It's like one of those things I think you develop over time. Yep. I don't think you can ever get a robot to make a good judgment, or AI to make a good judgment on something that's not even, you can't even quantify it.
Do you read resumes?
I don't read resumes as thoroughly as I should. Yep. I think if you think about the two main pillars, like competence, so you've got skill, and then you've got like what's the vibe of the person. I lean a lot to the vibe, because the skill can change and there's a lot of context that changes in the actual business, but if you're a freak it's really hard to undo that, and you're not gelling. So
Jacques, what about for people that haven't exited for 180 mil and don't have an abundant, I'm not saying you have an abundance of cash, but
you do have an abundance of cash.
It's easy for people to say, well, it's easy for you when you've got the cash. Yeah. But I don't want to use that as an excuse for people that are leaders to grow. How can people become more resourceful to start plugging in A players sooner than what they can afford?
The easiest way to do this, like simple terms, is give equity.
Give equity.
Right? So if you don't have money, which is you can't pay huge salaries, you can give equity. And that's what we did in the early days of Real Hub. We didn't have big salaries. We were bringing people in on $55,000 salaries at the time. But as soon as that person showed that they were a good worker and like were in this with us, we gave them equity. That's the simplest way. And you know what's funny about that? Is people gave it back. They didn't want it because they didn't think the company was worth anything. So the equity is like not even worth a pack of durries. But you are showing them, you know, like I want you to be part of this business, because people want ownership. That's how you get people to buy into the dream.
Would you prefer, for real estate, we can give people commission splits, increase their commission splits, or give them equity? What would you think is a smarter play?
I think you can do whatever suits your business. There's no one size fits all, right? People want, the signal is, I value you in this company. Yeah. However you want to make that up, if you don't have cash to give them, you give them a favorable split with commissions, right? You give them a feeling that they are valued. That's all we're trying to achieve here. So they like, the ultimate is they think this is my company. Yeah. That's the ultimate. And whichever way you can get there, whatever resources you have, that's the end goal you want to get to, where people feel like they're invested in the business. They're invested in the success of the business.
Josh has actually mentioned it a few times, and we've experienced this, I'm sure you have too, where having many directors or people making decisions can create
just tension, dilution.
For example, you're doing a development, you've got 4 people involved, it can go to shit. Has that happened with you, and what's your experience like getting people on with equity splits and then the dynamic changing?
So I think what you've still got to always align to is the overall goal of the business and the strategy, right? You might not agree on the tactics to get there, but you're bringing people on where you agree with where we want to get to. I think arguments and disagreements are great, right? I think being challenged on your thinking, even if you're the boss or the largest shareholder, is really important. And it's really hard to actually find people that will challenge you on your ideas. When you get momentum and you're the boss, you get a bunch of yes men saying, I love that idea, even though it's a shit idea. And you need people. I think when you have more people that are strong opinions, the best idea will win. You can fucking fight it out and get there the way you need to get there. But having strong opinions in a business that are almost like complete opposite.
It's commercial maturity though. Like you've got to have that commercial maturity about yourself to not take it personally.
That's right.
You have to realise that you're not the smartest all the time.
That's right.
And that's a whole other journey in itself.
No, that's exactly right. You need to understand, like, even if you have a disagreement, you both are aligned in where you want to get to.
That's right.
You both are aligned with the dream and the vision and stuff like that. When things start to fall apart is when you want to go in complete opposite directions when it comes to where does this business need to be. I want to grow it. I want to scale. I want to go international. I want to stay small. We're never going to align on our decision making because
100%.
fundamentally, we want different things. We want different outcomes.
Where's your mindset junction at the moment? You know, because now you're deep in it again. Like we're out in the ocean. Yeah. Like
how deep are you? Million lives.
Like where's the mind? Are
Close
you
on a million?
Are you sort of are you gearing up for big growth? I know we've heard numbers. We want to build this into $1 billion company, and we're documenting it, which we'll touch on in a second. I think that's been phenomenal. Some of the best content, by the way. You need to do more of that. But yeah, where's that junction of your mindset up to now? Are you still just as hungry? Are you still just as driven? Are you clearer now that you know you've got traction, you've got staff, the product's close to launch? Because I think you're launching in November.
Yeah.
November.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Where's the headspace at? Still feeling as confident? Still feeling as clear? Really happy with the decision of going back into business?
It's funny. I think. You know how you have doubt. It's days like this, right? One day you feel confident. You wake up, everything's going great. The next day you're like, why the fuck did I do this? Everything's going wrong. And that's literally exactly the same as it was when we started.
Yep.
So I thought my idea was like, okay, coming at this the second time, I've got a bank of experience that I can draw from. I should be able to like handle it in a certain way now. It's exactly the same. There's all the unknowns, all the uncertainties. They come back.
Just new unknowns.
It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you think about the motivation piece. Like, would I be motivated? I've just exited. I can retire. I'm just as motivated because now it's like I'm going to prove everyone wrong. Like I want to do this again to prove people wrong. Yeah. It's like the same things start to come up. So it's actually really funny because you think if it's not money that motivates you, what are you actually motivated by? And I think it's fine to be motivated by money in the beginning. It's completely fine. But then there's like a piece of you that's like, well, I want to build something that I can be proud of. I want to challenge myself because I know by going through this process, I'm going to be a completely different person at the end again. I know how much I changed from the previous business, and I'm like, okay, I got to like level 3. What does it look like to go to level 3 to level 7? You know, like what's that look like? And so that's the stuff that really motivates me and gets me excited. And I'm like, I just think about it like it's a whole new journey, doing it in a whole new way because. The other thing is like doing business in 2012 to 2022, it's very different than doing business now in 2025. Totally. It's a whole new world. And so actually like what I learned and what I know is very small compared to what I could possibly know starting in 2025 and to the future.
But when you get to level 7, the reward is getting to level 7 because it's like you're just Jacques 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How is the product looking for the November launch? When can I get it? When can I download it? I'm on the
wait
list.
Are you on the wait list?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you a special code. You can have early access.
Good.
Early access.
I want VIP.
Access. But yeah, it's constantly changing. Like it's some days I'm like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
So Jacques, how are you making decisions? What's your decision-making framework now? And I think I heard you mention this on another podcast that you grade intelligence not by how much information someone retains, but their ability to sort out new information or be curious enough to ask and find that answer. How are you now going into a new business thinking about how to make decisions when they come up or problems or challenges?
So I think that's the most important thing, right? It's how curious you are to learn new things. So like for us at the moment, I'm doing like a lot of my work is what don't we know? Like there's so much, you know, like marketing, meta ads, just like pure like that stuff. I don't know anything about that because we were in B2B before. It was very straightforward. You have a sales team, you make sales calls, you book meetings, and it's very straightforward. But this world, I don't know. Well, how can we get to a place that we're good by the time we need to be good? Like, I need to be good at this in 6 months. Who do I know that can help me? How can I short circuit this process of understanding it? How can I get the team up to speed? So I think one of the things that like the framework for me has always been, don't delegate something or outsource something if you don't understand it, at least at a decent enough level. So I think that's like an important lesson for any founder, right? A founder is meant to be an effective generalist. At the end of the day, you can't really be just like, that's not my department. How do I know if that department's functioning well if I don't have a measuring stick of at least knowing I've done it? How do I know what a good meta ad looks like if I haven't got into the ads manager and actually played around and seen, okay, that's what it looks like to set that up? So I think one of the things for me is like all the things that we need to learn and understand, I first kind of like have to learn and understand as well. And then you kind of, okay, well, who do I know that can help me with that? Who can I know that can make me better as quick as possible? And that's the beauty of today's world. There's so much resources out there. You can learn anything on any topic. and be good. Like it's like you can literally like YouTube is like for the next decade I could sit on YouTube and learn anything and be an expert at the end of it. So that's like the mental framework for me, is just learn as much as you can and get a okay understanding, and then get the team.
Do you think both founders need to learn everything, or could you split that with you and Frank?
You have, so with co-founding relationships, you want to have like complementary skills and some crossover. So Frank is a people person, a salesman, a talker. I'm not that, so I'm more leaning towards the technical side, but then we have a real crossover. He's not a technical idiot. He knows his way around stuff. He's been around it enough. I can talk somewhat, but like not to the level of him. So you have your strengths that you play into, but you still want to be across enough in your business, right? You don't want to be like, well, I don't worry about marketing. Because marketing is how the tech informs the marketing. What are the analytics we can get from the marketing to help us with our actual product? There's a lot of stuff there that actually sits right on top of each other. And if you don't understand it and you outsource it or you let someone else deal with it, how do you know if it's good?
What's your thoughts on, I guess, pre-business launch? You know, you hear a lot in the entrepreneurial space. You just need 50% to start, you know, and I think a lot of people don't get out of the gates because it's paralysis by analysis. And before you get to that point of having that crossover, like, do you see value in, you don't have to know everything to get started? Like what's your sort of, your measuring stick of, you know, look, if you're across at 60-70% in terms of like your new business idea, like Henry Ford didn't know how to, you know, bend metal, but he knew how to hire people that did. When do you start? Like when's enough information enough to start?
I think you can start on zero information.
Yeah.
Just start running. Like you learn as you go.
Zero.
You can start, like if you have something that's compelling, is interesting to you, you want to stick to, just get started trying something, momentum. Right? Like there's going to be so many things that you don't know in the beginning, and that you can't know them. You're never going to be able to watch a course and then start. It's while you've started, you realize you've got a problem. I don't understand how meta ads work. Well, now when I watch that course on how to do meta ads, I'm motivated because I've got the problem. I don't know how they work, but I'm not going to sit there and watch hours and hours of content and just learn things for the sake of learning. The way that I learn, it's like I try something. I don't know it. I'm terrible at it. I learn enough to get me past my problem and on to the next gate. That's enough. And then you can keep going. And then you don't have to just sit there constantly. People will do this. They'll sit there constantly looking for information before even taking any action.
Agents do that.
It's you don't go anywhere, right? And you think you've done something because you've watched a video or you've read something.
It's not action.
You've not done anything, right? So
what's the script and dialogue?
On
that, and you should have just made the call.
Yeah, should checking the DLs and not making the calls. I think, and that's the thing too. There's so many great associates and PAs at the moment that are listening to this. They're thinking, fuck, you know, I've been with this guy for 2 years. I'm really loyal. He's really good, but I think I'm competent, or maybe I just need another year. So advice would be, if you think you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, I think it's really important to use in like employment as a way to sharpen a skill. How can I get better at this task than 90% of other people? Like that's an important thing, right? Like sales, you've been trained in sales under a person who is a weapon operator. You've learnt a lot. You've gotten to a level of competence, but then going and doing your own business, you probably won't even be able to, you're not even going to be doing much sales. If the business is successful, now you're doing all the other business stuff. And you didn't learn that at the job, but you started with a good foundation of sales, right? So I think that's the thing with people. It's like, get your skills up to a point where you've got like some skills in some certain areas that are, you know, useful. And then from there, if you do start a business, you're going to have a bunch of gaps that you don't have that skill for. Just be willing to learn. Just be willing to try.
It's a great unknown. I remember when Sam and I started the business and we just had James 2 weeks later, and we're like, what have we done? Didn't have a brand, didn't have an office. We just had an idea and a vision. Yeah. But like you said, it's, you know, you find the answers when you have the problem, like the meta ad thing. It's like, all right, well, this is now a problem. We need a bookkeeper, you know, and you figure it out as you go. Yeah. But it's like anything in life, right? You just need momentum.
That's right.
Momentum breeds momentum. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yes.
You know.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What about this stuff? How many stuff have you got now?
Oh, I don't want to say. I think we've got about almost 10. Yeah.
Wow.
Quite a few. So a lot of engineers now. So a lot of engineers just recently started. So obviously with a big technical challenge, you need smart people. We do have people that are, you know, working on marketing and stuff like that. But yeah, you need to hire enough people to do something that's quite big.
Can you explain to the people what an engineer does and what a developer does?
It's the same thing. Software engineer, software developer. Okay. It's very, very similar. So what you'll have in the software world is you'll have people that are like writing code a lot, which is like functionality what you interact with in an app, and then you've got the people that work on like the infrastructure stuff, right? Like, so this is going to be hosted in the cloud. So there's all these scripts they got to write to like deploy the thing into the cloud. You've got to manage all your servers. That's where things get really, really technical. And then you add the AI layer on top, and they get really expensive.
Wow. And is Kinso on track for November? Are we on track?
Yeah, we're on track. I mean, ask me tomorrow, I'll tell you we're not on track and it's a train wreck, but yeah, no.
What's Frank think? Frank think we're on track?
Frank thinks everything's great all the time.
We're on track from day one.
Yeah, Frank, don't worry about Frank. He's
Shout out Big Frank.
Yeah.
So what's the play from 0 to $1 billion? How does that unfold?
I don't know the play from 0 to $1 billion. I think the play is from 0 to $1 million. I think you start there, right?
And you
so like
just break it
you
up.
just break it up into pieces. So it's like it's the same thing for everything. Like, set a big goal. Sure. Like, I'm saying we're building $1 billion app. We're a $0 app right now. So there's a big goal. But in the meantime, what does it look like just to get to $1 million in ARR? And what's a good timeline for that? That's it, right? Like, okay, what do you want to charge for your app? Let's just say it's $99 a month. Well, how many users do you need? You need 1,000 users. How do I get 1,000 users? You probably need to get a wait list of 10,000 people. Well, there you go. Now you've got a plan. Let's get 10,000 people on the wait list. You're going to convert hopefully 10%, but that's an unknown. Then we can get to 1,000 paying customers. And then you've just got, it's very much like, what is the next logical step that's not too big? It's not like, how do we get from 0 to $1 billion? It's like, what's the next logical step that's not too big, that's manageable? What is the required output? How do we get to that required output? It's just numbers. And then what do we need to do to do that, right? So like the waitlist thing's a prime example. How do we get interest in something that's not even ready? Start with a waitlist, start talking to the customers, start teasing out the problems, get people a little bit excited, choose a small group to start your work with, iterate really, really fast.
Break us down the attention model piece to this, because you guys are documenting it, which I don't think, I've never seen a founder do that. That's failures, wins, losses.
Yeah.
Talk us through that process. Frank's flying around in his Lambo at the moment, wrapped in God knows what, and so obviously, attention economy, that who gets the most attention wins, and you're doing that, right?
Yeah.
You're getting all the attention. Walk us through that. What was the play? Why did you guys go so hard on that attention piece digitally? And, I'd probably say 3 reels a day from you guys coming out of that office.
Sorry.
I can't pick up my phone without seeing
Caption,
you.
I sold my business for 100 million.
So yeah. Which is great. So, and walk us through that, and walk us through the strategic direction for documenting it, the YouTube series. Explain that to everybody.
So I think this started really when we had a look at what business is in 2024, 2025. Tech was a moat when we started, right? And what I mean by that is you could build a piece of software that was impressive, and that was enough to get you customers. Oh, it's fast, it loads quickly, the button's nice, it looks pretty. That was enough to get customers, revenue, everything. Now, in 2024, 2025, with AI, people are building products incredibly quickly. So that technical moat doesn't really exist anymore. It's getting eroded away. It does exist because there's still really technical stuff out there, but it's getting harder. So how do you create some sort of moat around your product? It's obvious looking at this like attention economy. Why does Logan Paul, a YouTuber, sell a drink to kids and make billions of dollars? Well, because he's got all that attention, right? So like the playbook is right there. Like, why is Kylie Jenner a billionaire?
No talent, no offense.
You know what I mean? Like, so that is the environment, I think, for business in 2025. It's about how do you capture enough attention to make your product relevant, at least so people can try it. Because your product still has to be really, really good, and it still has to be an amazing product. But how do you at least get enough attention so people will try it? And so I think that's just part of a new formula. You're seeing this kind of in reverse now. You're seeing these companies, like we're kind of copying this playbook, is you're seeing them building a hype cycle before building a product. You look at things like Cluely, they're doing like 10,000 TikTok accounts to build hype around a product that no one even really knows what it does. It records your screen or something.
And then drop it, then bang.
And then they have attention. Well, now you can attract investment. So VCs are throwing money at them. With the VC money, you can attract the best talent, and you can build your way into a product almost after the fact. And so a lot, like Superpower is another one. They built a 30,000 waitlist without a product. You're kind of seeing the model being flipped a bit, in this new world with social media, with AI. You're seeing the model. It used to be build a really great product, get it out into the market, then try and advertise it. Yeah. Now it's almost the exact reverse.
Right.
Start advertising what you're doing. Start getting people familiar with your brand, your face, with a bit of a vibe of the company, and then show them the product.
Kind of like the Both Sides podcast.
Yes, baby. How can real estate agents adopt these philosophies?
I think it's so funny. I watched a real estate agent the other day doing a tour for a house on Instagram. I thought it was the funniest thing. She sits behind the couch. She's like, I'm behind the couch.
Yeah,
it's the funniest thing.
She's good.
And I was like, the house is the shittest house. But she's hilarious. I think it's the trends of social media allows you to do what would be like mundane marketing back in the day. It's like, hey, I'm Jeff and Ray White. Come to this house. She's done it in a funny way that's like trending. Yeah. And now if I'm selling my house, I'm selling with her. Yeah. It's the same thing with that Tony the sign guy in China or wherever it is, where he does he's selling LED signage. That is not groundbreaking tech or anything interesting. It's boring. Yeah. But he's doing it on social media in a funny way. And I think this whole concept of having to be seen as professional, it doesn't make sense anymore, right?
Yeah, because you guys are...
it's
going the opposite, really.
Yeah, I think people want to see that you're a real human at the end of the day. So being a robot that's scripted, that's trying to deliver a really curated message is missing the fact that you're just a human being. It's
so relevant to real estate, and that's why you're seeing so many agents ditch the suits, get a little more casual, and I suppose for people that are trying to screen an agent, just to go into the agent world, they can jump on your Instagram, they can check out what your interests are like, what sports you're into, and get a feel for you. Business is generally people to people.
That's exactly right.
Right? Product removed, it's generally just people to people.
Yeah, and social media allows you to show that you're just a regular person, right? There's you're trying to create trust between, you can still be serious when you need to be serious, but it doesn't hurt to show that you are a human being and you're not just an agent robot that reads a script and executes because that's a bit of a meme. The slick agent, right, is a bit of a meme. Yeah. And so I think the people that can be successful is breaking out of that a little bit, becoming a little bit more humanized, using tools like social media, which is free. It's a free way to do it. Even if it flops, no one sees it. That's great. That's even better. Don't worry about it. Yeah. It's looking at what is successful in other fields and then adopting that into real estate.
Justin Merendino from Ray White, if you're listening, I'm just giving you a big shout out because you do that really well, brother.
I watch your stuff.
He's the best, and he just, every time I see one of his reels, it puts me in a good mood. He actually, my mate reached out to Justin. I hope he listens to this, but my mate Jace reached out to Justin and got Justin to send me a DM, and it made my whole year. A personalised DM from Justin Merendino.
Cameo videos, yeah.
Because he's just, but you know what? And I think I watched his account go from 5,000 to 16,000 in a couple of months. Yes. But it's just this genuine Australian-Italian guy. Just you can't help but love this guy. I feel like I need to buy a property there just to list with him just so he can sell it. You know what I mean? He's, and that just goes to your point about just being authentic.
Yeah.
And it's funny, our brand is a very polished brand. We try to be as authentic as we can because the last thing you want to come across as you want to be polished and good at your job.
That's right.
But you can be professional and be yourself. Yes. No one likes a sleek real estate agent. Yeah. No one cares about the land.
Yeah, you still have to be,
no one cares.
You still have to be competent. You still have to have a great product or service, right? Yeah. That is table stakes. Yeah. You have to have that. But everyone can have that, and then the extra sauce is there's a human there that I can relate to. Yeah. There's a real person. There's not the ego's not there. There's no pretense. I'm not trying to pretend I'm something I'm not. You can be silly. It's fine, and people will relate to it. What you'll find though is people will hate it or love it, but that's actually fine too. Some people just 100%. Hate it completely, and that's okay. You're just not for them. 100%. And I think that's what people need to get comfortable with this kind of this concept of content is. You will have people, if everyone likes you, you're vanilla, you're doing the wrong thing.
100%.
You have to kind of be polarizing the side. Yeah. Tell that to Jack Henderson.
But ego is a repellent to trust. Do you know what I mean? It puts people off so much. And I think if you've, I've found in business, myself and my personal journey, it's if you're not pissing people off, if you're just not ruffling feathers, you're not making enough noise. Yeah. And you guys know that. But you've got to be willing, and that's another part that can scare people off. even just agents that don't own a business, but agents that are scared to put themselves right out there and not, switch their feed up from just being soul board photos to actually a bit of valuable content, is because they don't want the judgment, and they don't want their community or their peers to judge them or their work. But the reality of it is, like, you got to be bold. Like the winners in life are the bold. Like Josh Charles said this morning, who dares wins. Like, you've got to be bold. And in business, if you're an agent and you want to step out into owning your own business, you have to be prepared for the negativity too. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I like, the more of it, the better. Like, I've seen some of the comments, on the Kinso stuff with, like, I've seen Frank pull up, like, he'll pull up one and then just call them out. Like, I love that, because, like, shut up. Like, you're a keyboard.
They're not going to buy from you anyway, so it's
who cares?
Additional content.
But for every time you're authentic, you've probably 10x your trust value out to the market, because that people watching respect that you're being authentic. And it's worth losing 1 to gain 10 by just being authentic and sticking true to your course.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree with that. I think real estate's a perfect playground for it too, because 100%. It's such a break from the norm, where, like, people think of slick real estate agents and it's kind of like painted into this box. And you've got opportunity to stand out just by being a bit
be yourself.
Whatever.
What about your advice for founders, Jacques? What routines or structures would you have for founders?
My advice for founders, like, the routine stuff's funny, because when you're in a business and working, you are the most unhinged version of yourself. There is no structure, right? Like, you see these people doing their morning routines. I'm like, none of that applies.
You're not putting your face in a bowl of ice.
Lift your head up from the pillow, go to work. You get back from work, put your head on the pillow and go to sleep. Like, that's the routine. I think one of the things that, my advice for founders, it's really, like, dependent on where you're up into the stage. If you're on the edge of an idea and you're looking to do it and you're young, try as many things as you can. And it really comes down to, like, this definition of failure. Like, I think in Australia specifically, there's always these stats. 90% of businesses fail. And people go, I don't want to fail because I'll feel funny. I've tried to launch a business, all my mates know, and I've failed. Like, they wear it as this thing of shame. But I don't think those stats truly represent the journey of a founder. You might do 9 businesses that fail and they contribute to the failure stats. And then the 10th is a massive success, but actually 9 out of 10 businesses failed.
Totally.
But if you track that one person, they were successful.
Yep.
And I think this is the problem. Like, founders that are sitting on the edge of ideas, I think because they frame failure as this final thing. But if you think about it like an experiment, right? You've got an idea, you've got a hypothesis, you have a way to test your experiment, and then you have a result. If the result isn't what your hypothesis stated, you just try something else. And you can be like, that failed, technically, but I've got knowledge and understanding that I can take to the next thing. And it might be something completely different, or it might be just a little move, like a little pivot, so to speak. And that is, like, the whole process of being a founder. Like, you're constantly doing that. You start a business and then you experiment, and that business tweaks, and eventually you end up in a completely different spot than when we started. We didn't start out as a tech platform. We started out putting signboards in the ground. We started out printing brochures. I used to sit on a guillotine. That was my job. Like, that's how we started. And then we ended up a tech business that sells to domain. That's just because we iterated, we found problems and we solved them. And you ended up at a tech play, but we got started with just the most mundane thing. And that's what I want founders to understand, is like, start anything, really, and then see where it takes you.
Do founders have a problem? Do founders attach their identity to their products? Like, do you find a lot of founders find it hard to rebound because they put so much into it? And then,
I think one of the things we do generally is we tie our identity into how people perceive us, right? So I don't want to be seen as the guy who failed that business because I've put it out there. I've said I'm starting my whatever ecom brand, and then I'm closing down my ecom brand. You think there's going to be like the town square of people laughing at you saying, there's the guy. But truthfully, no one gives a shit. No one cares. So, like, starting something and failing, it doesn't even make a blip on anyone else's radar. But I think people are really, like, concerned. Like, I don't want to be the guy that failed. I don't want to be the guy that's... And I do it too. Like, I'm not, like, immune to it. I do it all the time. I'm like, fuck, imagine if this thing fails, we're bloody documenting it on YouTube.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
It'll be the most well-documented flop in history. Every angle.
Yeah.
But no, like, it just doesn't matter because you're not that relevant to people. Like, it's a moment in time. You hear about successful founders, and I'm more interested in, look at all these things they tried before they made this big success. Slack, we all use Slack. They started out as a game development company that Slack was used as a tool for devs to talk to each other about developing this game. Those things are so far apart. Now Slack is like this multi-billion-dollar business. This thing failed massively. And he tried it twice. He tried to make 2 games and both of them failed.
Wow. But
then he's built Slack out of it. So I think like, yeah, even like to go to your point with this Kinso thing, like building in public, like, yeah, maybe the first thing we launch is an absolute dog and it doesn't work. But I'm confident enough in my ability to iterate, to try different things, and you end up in a spot that, yeah, if with sheer will and persistence, we will have something good.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I rate that.
Yeah.
What about in terms of optimizing your performance as a founder or CEO or entrepreneur? Like on Instagram and social media, everyone's doing ice baths or 5 a.m. club or morning routine. Like, what's your perspective on all of that when it comes to high performance?
I think the best thing you can do for high performance is nothing to do with an ice bath or sauna or any of that stuff. It's your ability to learn and improve, like tactical. Like I do not know how to run meta ads. I'm going to learn that. It's my willingness to say that I'm bad at something. Like that's like really hard for a lot of people to do. I'm not an expert in this field because people, when they start a business as the founder, they think they have to be the expert in everything. So your ability is like, how do I improve myself, my skill set, my understanding, and how do I shorten that time to get better at something? And the first thing is just like, you're constantly absorbing information, right? So you're taking notes on the things you don't know. You're looking at like, okay, how do I improve here? Who do I know that can help me with it? That is the key thing. That's the only thing that's going to make you a better business operator. Like getting in an ice bath, to be honest, is not going to, I mean, maybe for stress and stuff like that, but I don't think truly like in the arena people are noticing a massive uptick from being in a sauna. Right?
Just a bit of stress relief.
It's a bit of stress relief. It's fine. It's fine if it adds value, but I think if you're like, oh, I didn't sauna today, I didn't do a good job as a founder today, or I didn't do a good job in business, it doesn't matter. Like we can complicate things. It's the same with like diet and exercise, right? How do you lose weight? Don't eat as much as you eat less than you burn. Then you can add in a shitload of complexity. You can add in anything. I'm on the keto diet, I'm on the paleo diet, I'm doing all this stuff. I can add in whatever complexity I want, but the fundamental truth is I need to burn more calories than I eat. And it's the same for business stuff. It's like you can add in complexity and you can add in a routine, you can add in your journaling, you can add in all this stuff, but at the end of the day it's like, can you learn and execute? So you've got an idea, can you execute the idea? Can you learn from the mistakes of the idea? Can you execute again? That's it.
Do people overcomplicate it?
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's social media overcomplicates because
everyone's an expert.
Everyone's, this is my morning routine that unlocks me to be
like a 90-minute morning routine.
I did none of that. I've done none of that in my life. Like, you know when I had a great morning routine? When I was retired and I had
went for 9 hours.
I had no business to run.
I was the
sauna king. I was in the sauna every day.
Oh. Yeah. So is there a time frame to this new journey of yours? Have you guys got $1 billion by 5 years, or is it just we get there when we get there and I'll have my second retirement?
So the last business from start of the tech to exit was 6 years. We've got that. Creating timelines creates pressure, which is fun. Like it's not real. Like launch in November, it's just a date we pulled out of our heads. There is, can we do it faster and can we do it bigger? So let's just say we wanted to exit in 3 years. What would that look like? So those are just like fun milestones that you add. But really, like there isn't a set in stone thing because everything changes all the time, right? Like you have a goalpost that you're aiming for. Let's get to X by this date, and if it's not there, you're not like, I'll chuck it all in the bin. You try and improve and change. And
Are you big at documenting all that as you go and updating it, the vision, the goals?
No, I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible. It's verbal. We just talk about it, but like we have certain milestones that we're trying to hit, and we've created forecasting around that. And everyone should do that. Like you want to create a forecast for the business for the year, and then you could reflect on it. But you're not really changing it too often, right? Like it's one big goal for the year. This is where we want to be, and then you reflect on it once. Then at the end of the year, I'd say it's the best way to do it.
How's it been having working with Frank second time around, and like because not a lot of founders have their brother that they're really close to, and you guys complement each other in so many ways. But like how instrumental has that been second time around? Like doing it with your brother, and
I think one of the biggest, like the luckiest things that's ever happened in my life is my two brothers, and I can really understand that that's a really unique position because not many people have that. And I've hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Because on one end, I have this genius technical software developer brother. And on the other end, I have this gift of the gab, salesman, talker, people person. And what a perfect environment to grow up in and then do business like in that environment, right? So it is the best thing that has ever happened to me in terms of business. And I think like it's my unfair advantage in life. And that's our unfair advantage because working with your family, like everyone says, oh, working for your family must be tough. It's like, it's the best thing ever because I'm never worried that you're going to stab me in the back. I'm never worried that we don't align to the same vision. We have the same aspirations. Like I'm never worried about that. So yeah, we have disagreements, but I'm also never worried about you being like, well, fuck you, I'm out of here. Like it's such a great place to do business from. So like, yeah, it's the best, honestly.
How come your third brother didn't join this one?
He started the business too quickly. He was like, it was too fast. Wow. Well, I had to take time off, and we were all talking about starting a business together. And I just wanted to take a beat, mate. We just had this journey. Let me enjoy this money for a bit. And he was like, done, started a new business.
What was the first thing you really spent some money on?
A house. Yeah.
A nice one.
A house. For me, the first thing I bought was a watch. Because I had this, like, we always used to sit around the office and say, like, what are you going to buy when we sell this business one day? And everyone's talking about cars and talking about, like, I'm going to do this and that. And I was like, I just want to buy one nice watch. And so that was, like, my gift to myself.
Nice.
But, yeah, houses for my wife, cars for my wife.
All the important stuff.
Yeah, check that off.
What about, like, just outside of your primary business at the moment, like investments? I know you boys do a little bit here and there. Like, have you guys been into property yourself? Are you buying investment properties?
Oh, mate,
yourselves?
Yeah. So, like, my investment thesis, I guess to say, is like, either it has to be completely passive and it doesn't require any of my attention. Property is perfect for that, or like a collection of stocks and whatever. Or it has to be active and I can control it. Yep. So that's like the two decisions I have. So I invest in startups or invest in companies where I can have a material impact on the outcome, right? So I can do something to help this product or this business achieve something, or I invest where I just don't even send me an email. Like I get annoyed when I have to like fill out something for an investment
notice.
I'm like, or something's broken, I got to pay a bill. I'm like, hey, you contacted me. So that's really like my investment thesis. Yeah.
Mate, you need to start using Kinzo.
Yeah, exactly.
So where to next, I guess, mate? So we're not far away from the November launch. What does the next sort of 3 months, 6 months look like for you in this space?
Yeah, really in the short term, it's like about building the best product possible.
Yeah.
That's it. So if we build something that's good and we get in front of people as quickly as possible, how quickly can we improve the product? Because you have theories in your head when you build a business, right? This is what people are going to love. And then they use it in a completely different way than you anticipated. And especially with software, how quickly can you iterate? So that's like the short-term plan for us is like, obviously there's going to be a lot of things that need to change between now and proper launch. And so I think, just focusing on the iteration cycle is the most important thing.
And
I was just going to say, looking back on your journey, what's one piece of advice you'd give your 27-year-old self?
I would say invest more time in being a better communicator. So my brother Frank did this so well, because he was in sales, was like, I need to be better at selling. And so he really trained himself from an early age to understand like the psychology of people, like how to negotiate with people, how to communicate an idea, because really you're selling all the time. If you're pitching to investors, you're selling your business. If you're pitching to a new employee, you're selling the business. You're selling the product, you're selling the product. Like, so being able to communicate really well, effectively and thoroughly, that's like a huge skill. And I struggled with that. Like I wouldn't say much, or I wouldn't communicate the thought or the idea I had, and I'd bottle it up.
Yep.
And then it would come out in like a angry rage or something like that. And he's so good because it's like this continuous feedback cycle that he brings into the business. It's like, if I've got something wrong with you, I'm going to say it instantly.
Yep.
And it's like, because he can just communicate that. And then we sort it out right there, instead of like something happens, and eventually I just blow up at you out of nowhere. And so that's one thing I'd say to my early self, or to anyone, is like, if you can communicate effectively, you can pretty much do anything, right?
Yep.
You watch some of these entrepreneurs, like the guy from WeWork. That guy was a fucking master communicator. The business was a complete flop. It's a bloody fraud. But he could get investors rallied, he can get employees rallied, he created this community around office buildings because he was just like this evangelist. He could just get people inspired. And I think that's like a huge skill.
100%.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask one last question. Piece of advice for all of the agents, entrepreneurs, developers, business owners regarding AI. What's one piece of advice that everybody should know about AI now, and how can they implement that?
The way I'd say, like what I would say with AI is, be curious enough as a business owner to try it yourself. Don't try and outsource the learning or the implementation to someone else in your business, right? Like if you're a business operator right now and you might be 45, 50, you're not too old to get in there and just muck around and try some stuff and just to see what's out there. Like there's so much information. Like get involved, just so you have some cursory understanding. Because like people are kind of using it as a buzzword. Put AI in my business, and they don't even know what you're trying to solve for. It's like this blanket that's going to fix everything. So really, it's like about being curious enough to like watch a video on it, muck around with ChatGPT. See how different results you can get by changing your prompt. Like there's really small things here that you can do just to get comfortable with it. And like it's not some crazy scary thing. Like there's so much content out there. Just by changing the instructions to AI, you get a massively different result. You can watch that happen with no effort of yourself. You just paste in a prompt, or get ChatGPT to write the prompt and then paste it back into itself, and then look at the result. So yeah, you should just be curious enough and willing enough to just try a bunch of different things right now. You don't have to put anything into your business. Just get comfortable and familiar.
That's good advice. And I think lastly, how do people get on the wait list for Kinso?
Just go to kinso.ai/waitlist. Please sign up.
Beautiful. I think is that our room.
Is there a code? Is there a special code?
I'll get you a code.
Yeah.
I'll get
you a
referral code. I'll get you a referral code.
Yeah.
You guys can win some money.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Get a referral code and we'll get the listeners
We'll
on.
get everyone involved.
That's it.
Cool.
Mate, thank you so much for joining us on the Both Sides podcast. I think I'm going to ask you one last question, which is, in that year you had off, what's one bit of reflection that came across your time in that year off, which you didn't think would be the case?
I was surprised by how much I was missing with my kids, and so the big thing for me was like, far out, like I really enjoyed the amount of time I got to spend with my family. And so the takeaway from that was like, my family, my kids are like a non-negotiable pillar in my life. Before that, I think I was running towards a goal. I was having kids while we were doing a business. It was very chaotic. Having time off and just spending just hours and hours with my kids allowed me to just kind of make this decision. It was like, that is now a firm non-negotiable. I want that for the rest of my life. I want to have that time with my kids. So I will have very hard set barriers around like work and time with kids.
And I think people shouldn't have to wait to sell their business for 180 million to learn that lesson.
Exactly, right?
You know,
exactly.
that's a great one, man.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Well, mate, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thanks, brother.